and welcome to Respect DanceFest Weekly with Micaya and my co-host Brandy Beasley.
What's up, y'all? It's almost Halloween. A couple weeks away. What's that?
You like Halloween?
Girl, I got 2 kids. I have to like Halloween.
You know what? I'm going to be 100% with you, Brandy. As a dance choreographer, I used to spend all year getting costumes for my dancers, makeup for my dancers. So like this one day a year when everybody else in the world needs costumes and makeup, I would just kind of sit back and let them have that. But I love it when I love it for the children. They're the cutest. They are the cutest.
They are cute. So we're going to have a different Halloween this year.
Oh, I know, honey. But speaking of children.
Oh, kids montage. Y'all got to get y'all's videos uploaded. Due date is, what is it? The 21st, October 21st. So you don't have that long. You got to get those kids, turn the music on, get them dancing, kitchen, living room, outside, wherever it is. And then you got to upload, go to SFIHHDF.com to upload your video of your cheerings.
And your child can be in part of the show this year. It's something that we have loved doing in the Dance Fest the last, I think, 4 or 5 years, where we have invited children to get on stage after the Sunday matinee, and they've gone wild. It's been so joyous to watch children dance after having them being inspired by the show. So we didn't want to lose that part of it. So we said, well, just have parents upload little footage of them dancing. They don't have to do anything major. It's not like fancy. Just let them be whoever they are. And then we'll put them as part of the show in this kids montage. And they will be part of the show. Yee.
Online.
Yeah.
International Hip Hop Dance Fest. It's coming up.
What day?
November 21st, Saturday at noon, online. Yes, live performances, kids montage. Me and Micaya, y'all love us. You get more of us.
Live soloists too.
We actually have one of our live soloists joining us today.
Oh, tell us, who's our guest today, Miss Brandy?
All right, yes, we have Rama Mahesh Hall, who is an OG member of Embodiment Project. He is an international dancer who dances house, hip hop, whacking, and locking. And he also is trained and practices capoeira, West African, and Afro-Haitian dance. So he knows how to move his body in all these different ways. So we're gonna see a clip of him right now with Embodiment Project at the SF International Hip Hop Dance Fest.
Hello and welcome, Rama.
Hey, Micaya. Hey, Brandy. Thanks for having me.
What's up? Thank you for being here.
Thank you for being here, Rama. I'm really happy to have you. You're such a dear soul to the Dance Fest in so many ways. We really treasure you, and I'm so excited that you're going to be performing this year at the SF International Hip Hop Dance Fest. So I want to let you know that when Kevin said, you know, I think you should do a podcast, and I was like, hey, that's kind of a cool idea. I'm going to name it Respect. And I feel like, you know, that's such an important word when it comes to dance in general. But I think for you, from what I know about you, I feel like you kind of apply a feeling of respect about a lot of things. So I don't really want to get specific, but I just want to kind of pick your brain about your attitude and how you've applied respect to the world of dance in particular.
Okay. Like the African proverb Sankofa, you got to know where you came from to know where you're going. That's the truest in street dance. You know, you got to know your foundation, you got to know your history, and you gotta dig. You know, you can't just be a surface level dancer. So I've always taken that to heart in terms of my main dance style and the culture I'm a part of, house dance and house music. Yeah, right away I was just drawn to go to the source. So I learned house dance in the Bay, but then within 1 year I started traveling to New York, and I went there every summer, winter. I work in a middle school, so every break, summer, winter, fall, I'm in New York, and I was studying from the OGs, you know. And for me, it's really important to do that, to really go to the source, to the OGs, the people that are still around, get the information, and then pass that on to your students, you know, digest it, and then pass on the real knowledge. So I think that's what I do in my classes. I always say where my moves come from, who inspired me, and also try to give history of where these styles come from. So yeah, respect.
Yes. It just seems like it's getting deeper and deeper every conversation we're having, because we were just talking about that last week with Breeze Lee and Miss Funk. So it's like everybody's been on point, like saying a lot of the same things. So I'm really loving this. Aren't you, Brandy?
I am, and I think it's just showing like you can't get on that stage or out in that, you know, whether it's a cypher or wherever it is, like, I don't know. I just feel like if I'm going to be doing this type of dance, I have to be connected to it and know the roots of it, because otherwise I'm disrespecting the surface that I'm dancing on, you know, and the people that I am dancing with. Like that's, you can't just go and fake it, right? You have to be connected to it.
Exactly. You could enrich the culture, or you could water it down by pretending you know everything and then spreading, you know, whatever information that's not actually connected to the root. But on the flip side, you can be about it and just enrich that culture and push it forward.
I have a question for you. So you are one of our soloists for SF International Hip Hop Dance Fest this year, and I want to know what are your plans? Like, what's going on? How are you working up toward that? Give us some insight.
Well, good question. This is a first for me, actually, to do a solo in this way. I do solos all the time as a freestylist, but not in this particular way of doing it in theater, because I've been with Embodiment Project for 11 years now, but it's always with my company, with my tribe, with my fam. And I have solo moments in our pieces, in our performances, but to be asked to just be so vulnerable, be by myself and share myself like this, it's a new challenge. So, but I'm ready for it, you know, because I love dance. I love, you know, everything about this. So now I can just share my vision. Working up to it, it's just finding the right song. That's the main thing. Finding that song that I want to share, and just share who I am, my personality within that, and also a song that is deep, has some depth, because you know, I find myself really a deep dancer. I really connect deep to the music, and so I want to share that. So right now, in my head, I'm going around. I live in Berkeley. I'm walking around Berkeley. What's that song I want? Thinking about it. So I haven't picked it yet, but I have some choices, and once I have it, everything's gonna flow.
So for you, in this case, you're going from the song, and then from there you're going to create the conceptual or the whatever it is that you're going to create that way, rather than sometimes, you know, some people are like, I already have conceptualized, now I want to find the song. You're like song first, then.
Exactly. When I have the song, I can just move to it. And naturally, as a freestyler, you tell a story in your solo anyways. So I can find my story, and then once I have it, I can like put some ideas, some markers of how to have a beginning, middle, and end, and then go from there. But yeah, I feel like it's the most organic when you can just jump in and freestyle without overdoing it too many times. Listen to the song a million times, because then it's not as organic, you know. So I want to share my true, authentic way, which is just going deep and really connect to the music. So yeah, you just need to find the song and then just, you know, think about it a little bit to make it tight, but not too much, and just really give it, you know, that, yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to this experience, and I've done it before one time actually. There's a event called Digs Deeper, and the idea is just to play a song and just go deep, you know, within 5 minutes. And I did that before, and I find that is so powerful. That's enough, you know, just share your rawness, and I don't have to do a whole choreography piece. Just my pure freestyle, and it's gonna be enough for the audience to feel me.
Right.
Yeah, so it's gonna be good.
The more interviews we do, I'm just like, I'm feeling this like warmth in my chest talking about this, and just how, like, honestly, when I meet someone who's like, I'm not into music or dance, I'm just like, oh my, how do you live without music and without dance? And I mean, I think, you know, each of us is different, but talking about how dance is like medicine, it's healing, it's so deep. And I'm just loving hearing what you're talking about, how you are going about getting ready for this solo performance, and also thinking about how you're like checking out, just listening for the right song, which is not necessarily the right song if you were doing this, you know, a year ago or 6 months from now, right? It's the right song for what you are feeling and what's happening within you right now. So
exactly. Woo! That's the beautiful thing. It's a snapshot of right now. It's very in the moment.
That's the artist's responsibility in some ways, and it's very personal, and I think it's a fine line. I mean, I'm curious because you really do choreography, because you do work with embodiment and you're a freestyler, and some people are one or the other, some people are definitely both, but there's this fine line in between both of them, and you were talking about it, like authenticity or originality, or keeping it feeling fresh, and then making sure that you hit all the points and say what you have to say by having some intention behind what you do.
Exactly. It's all about that beginning, middle, and end. You can't just jump in at 100. You got to build up your story, you know, have the meat of it, and then arrive. So yeah, those are the main things. So that's what I'm going to bring for sure.
So this is, I think there are people who struggle with freestyle, right? And then there are people who maybe struggle with choreography, all different. And I think sometimes people, maybe when they're newer to dance, freestyle may be the most difficult because it's so raw and or organic. So it sounds a little bit, Rama, like freestyle comes easier for you. But then you also, like Micaya said, you also choreograph. So is like the inspiration for freestyle and choreography different, similar, like?
Yeah. Yeah, everyone's different, like you said. For me, when I first started dancing, I was there's, you know, two types of dance classes. One that's more choreography, one that's more like working on foundations. And I was trying everything in the beginning. But when I was going to the choreography classes, I found myself so lost and confused. I'm in the back, like, whoa, this is happening so quick. Because people that have that part of their brain activated for that, you know, it comes easy, and they've been doing it for a long time. And so you just find your affinity. And in freestyle, I find that was better for me because I can put my personality into it, and that became my power, is really putting my personality into my dance while honoring the foundation, because that's what it's all about in street dance. So yeah, but for me also in terms of choreography, it's easier for me to do choreography that is based off of the freestyle foundations. Like you have a foundation in freestyle hip hop, house, locking, popping, whacking, all the styles. And then also capoeira, African dances, all these type of things that are more natural for me. It's easier for me to be in that choreography. So that's why with Embodiment Project, it's so perfect, because Nicole Claymoon, she does this really, really deep, beautiful work, really meaningful work. And then the movement is based off of the foundation that we all know as street dancers. So we're all different. We all have different backgrounds. Some are b-boys, some are voguers, whackers, some are more comfortable in African dances. You know, I'm house head first, but we all meet in the middle and we share and we grow in all the styles together, and we can build choreography around that that's really, really tight. So yeah, so that I prefer, and I respect all choreography. I respect that, you know, people that create amazing visions and share it with their students. And you know, you got to try everything, and then eventually you're gonna find what's more comfortable with you, and then you can go further with that. So yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I love house. I love house dance. It's I was showing some videos this weekend to my grandson because he loves dance, but he does like all the latest dances, you know, and he's just like, ah, yeah, he's always that. And I'm like, let's watch, you know, sit down, let's watch this other, you know, this house. And he was blown away. Eyes were super big. I was like, I think you could do that style. What we've tried to do in the last couple of episodes, Brandy and I have wanted to just little wisdom about different forms of dance, a little history. Can you tell us a little bit what house dance is, where it's from?
Yeah. Well, first you got to go with the music. So back in the 70s, disco was really, really big. It got too popular with, what was it? Saturday Night Fever, the John Travolta, that movie. And then disco got too popular, and then people were getting mad. And so they literally killed disco. They had this big stadium, and they went there and they're burning records, and they're like, death to disco. So then what happened was those disco records ended up getting transformed, and especially in a place in Chicago called the Warehouse, where rest in peace Frankie Knuckles, godfather of house, he was creating a new sound, taking those disco records and putting that four to the floor, that beat, boom, consistent beat, deeper bass, you know, and then house also characteristically with the hi-hat would come in, and yeah, so the music was transforming, and so people were like, where do we get this warehouse music? Where do we get this house music? And then the term came about, and then this house music went to New York, migrated there, and it started going in the clubs there. One of the most famous clubs from back then was the Loft, and then Paradise Garage. They're playing this music and people are just getting open, you know, because you know house music, it moves you. So the clubs that it was first happening was the gay after hours clubs, these parties that go into the morning, and it was a safe space for people to just be themselves, and so it was a welcoming space for everybody, you know, gay, straight, doesn't matter. Eventually, everybody was able to come together in this safe space. And so what happened was the hip hop clubs at that time, now it's like the mid 80s, were too dangerous because, you know, violence would happen. People would get jealous. Oh, you're dancing with this girl, I don't like it. Boom, like, you know, people were getting hurt. And so these hip hop dancers ended up in these after hours house music spaces because it was safer, more inviting, and their style, their hip hop movement started to evolve because these spaces was a melting pot of styles. So you have people that do salsa, ballet, capoeira, African dances, all meeting in these places, all vibing together, and people, their styles are rubbing off on each other. So then the hip hop dancers would come in there, and their style was evolving, but at the same time, they had a lot of energy. They're called young grasshoppers. The OGs were like, look at these young grasshoppers always bouncing around. But they started to make a particular style. And then fast forward a little later in the early 90s, you had dancers from Japan that were visiting New York and was seeing these dancers in the club, and they were like, what am I seeing? You know, I had the same experience 12 years ago when I saw my first cypher at People's Party in Oakland. Like, what am I seeing? And so these dancers ended up flying some of these New York dancers out to Japan, like, teach me, you know, I want to learn this. And the New York dancers, they didn't, they just do their movement. They didn't have a codified form. So all of a sudden they have to be teachers. So they're like, okay, we got to figure this out. So it was actually Brian Green, one of the most important OGs. He brought together the group of the dancers and were like, we need to codify this movement. So they were like, okay, Khalif does the loose leg, like we're gonna call it the loose leg. Marjorie does the lotus, we're gonna call it the lotus, and then all these different things. And so all these, it built a vocabulary, and then they were able to teach the Japanese, and then also early on in Paris, and then it started to spread around the world. And all these years later, now it's like, early, like 30 years later, 40 years later, 40 years now, wow. It was a long time since like the birth of house and then house dance and all these different things. But now it's spread all around the world, like India, Peru, it doesn't matter, like, after woodworks, everybody is sharing this language. So it's a universal language. And that's what it makes me, because I'm a traveler. Even before I started dancing, I loved to travel. And now I can travel and with dance and connect with people and be like, we know this language, let's share. So it's a really special thing. And it's come a long way.
Thank you for the lesson. Oh my gosh. Yes, because people, it's so deep. It's just so deep. And I'm so glad we're able to do this, because we don't get to do this at the show every year, right? And so this is just so special to be able to transmit all of this knowledge and information and give people the depth of dance.
Yes, indeed. Thank you.
Great. No problem.
Yeah, that's really valuable, and I've been trying to make a point of a little bit more education to the people who follow and come to DanceFest, because I realize I can't expect them to know to differentiate styles and to know what certain things are, and why not give them a little something so they can differentiate things when they see them on stage at the DanceFest.
I could say actually one more thing about that, because house dance is a club dance first, and that's important to know, because all styles, different styles, a lot of styles were born in the street, but house was born in the club, and so it's just good to know that the foundation is that club life, to go there to release yourself and all these different things. So house dance almost has two forms, or two ways to look at it: the club side, and then this like codified like vocabulary that went around the world. So everyone can dance house. You can just do whatever you like, whatever your field, whatever your background, whatever your history. And then at the same time, if you want to know this particular language, then you're able to have that in common with other people. Also, when you go to battles, when you do a battle, you have to show this form that you can control the foundation while presenting yourself at the same time. So I just want to be clear about that people all over America were dancing house, throughout the years, and different regions would dance differently. Even in the Bay, they dance a certain way. It was more like freestyle. But the house dance as we know it is the New York interpretation, what they've created, and that spread around the world. So I just want to be clear that house dance, when I say that, is actually the New York interpretation. But at the same time, everybody has their own way of expressing. And when you travel, it's cool to see how other cities were dancing the house as well.
I love that. I love it. Thank you so much for saying that. That's really important. That's really interesting. The one thing that's I think is global is the energy is positive and supportive, and you don't see that in some of the other clubs and things, like you're saying. Everybody's just like, if they're even battling each other, they're just like, supporting each other and accepting, like you said, all people welcome. And that's so refreshing. So I love that. I wanted to ask you, because I know you performed at the SF International Hip Hop Dance Fest, but I don't know how many times you have.
That is actually a good question. I don't fully know. I would say 2 or 3 times. I can remember 2, but yeah, I would have to really look back. But I've been a volunteer many times as well, because I just love the Dance Fest. So I'm coming as many years as I can to be involved one way or the other.
Straight up, right. So every time you perform at DanceFest, it was with Embodiment Project?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was telling Brandy, I said, this child, every year, he hit up our volunteer coordinator and say, what do you need me to do? Backstage, sell shirts, put the water here, put the food here. You're a man of service, not just to the Dance Fest, but to wherever you're at. I feel like that's the kind of person you are, that you want to be of service to your community. And for that, I respect you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Micaya.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it makes sense what you're telling us about house dance and the community and the love and the support. I mean, that's what I get from DanceFest every year, and in the working up to DanceFest, and in my relationships with DanceFest and with the dancers. And it's like family reunion everywhere, and I know every year. And I know I keep saying that, but it really is for me. It's a family reunion every year with all these dancers that I love. And then you add new family members every year because you meet new dancers, or you finally get to sit down and chop it up with that, dance company that was here a couple years ago and you never got to really hang with. So it's all love.
Yeah, and I want to thank you, Micaya, so much for creating Dance Fest, because it's been so special to me every year. Even before I was able to travel as much, I would see all these dancers, on YouTube, at battles, performances, all these different things. And I was so inspired by European dancers from all over, Japan, doesn't matter, all over the world. And then all of a sudden, Micaya is bringing these dancers to San Francisco. And I'm like, these people are here in person, right in front of me. And it's just such an inspiration every year where you bring that to the Bay. We don't even need to travel. They come here, and then they can inspire us and share just with their dance, but also they do workshops and all these different things, just passing on information. So every year, the Dance Fest is like, it's like, I look forward to it as this, it's very unique experience. The Bay transformed for that weekend, or a week even. So I really thank you for that every year, for creating that. And it's such a gift to the Bay.
Thank you. It's definitely one of the added special benefits of bringing everyone here to perform, but also they connect with the other dancers. They end up, vibing off each other, and it fills my heart. That's a big part of not only sharing these dancers, I'm bringing them all the way here, but sharing them on stage, and then sharing them otherwise, having them teach, having them connect. And so there's people like you in your community that just eat them up every time I bring them, just like, let's go. I'm like, whoa, y'all are doing all kinds of stuff while they're here. And that just makes me happy. And it's one thing, it's not happening this year, but we're trying to make the best of it. We're definitely trying to make the Dance Fest feel the same as much as we can. All those feelings that you would feel when you're at the Palace of Fine Arts, sitting in your seat, just, riveted, like, sad, happy, inspired by life. That's what we're trying to do. It's definitely my first time doing an online production in 22 years.
It's going to be awesome.
I'm excited.
Awesome.
Oh, I am excited too. Well, it's been absolutely wonderful. I'm so happy that you are our guest today, Rama. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Micaya. Thank you, Brandy.
Mm-hmm.
Fun.
Great.
And Miss Brandy, yes, we have just a little over a month, and you and I are going to be sitting at the Commonwealth Club doing a live broadcast of this show with some live soloists. We're going to have all these recorded pieces, some VIPs.
I'm getting excited. I'm like, what am I going to wear? What's my earrings going to look like? Where am I going to glitter? And I'm really looking forward to just kind of, you know, I know it's me, you, and, you know, but still I feel like it's still a party and we still are going to bring that energy with us and just like party hard online.
Okay. 3 moms.
Good.
Right. 3 moms party hard online.
Me and Jim. But yeah, no, I know. You've been texting me, what you gonna wear? I'm like, I don't know. I haven't worn clothes in 7 months.
At least not on the bottom.
For real.
Oh man, we'll figure it out. Anyways, we're gonna wrap everything up. Thank you once again, everyone, for tuning in to Respect DanceFest Weekly with my beautiful co-host Brandy, with Rama and myself. Until next time, love and respect. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Peace.